Standing in the street, can you hear me? Wake up from your sleep.
As leaders or leaders to be in our organizations, we must deal with growing volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity that is currently surrounding the business world. And if anything, the recent developments have shown us that change is something that can be challenging and difficult. And what is it that you can do as a leader or a leader to prepare your team for the change that is ahead? And something we want to talk about today is a model that we've created at Western, which is we call TEDA, which stands for Transparency, Empathy, Diversity, and Amplifying. So over the next couple of series, we're going to be diving more into each of these specific points, starting with transparency today.
Elena, so if we look at why it is so difficult to adopt change in an organization today, many organizations make the error of exhorting employees to behave differently without teaching them how to adapt general instructions to their individual situations. Now, there is a social psychologist in 1957, Leon Festinger, published an interesting theory of cognitive dissonance. So it's a very difficult word to retain, but it means that it is the fact of distressing mental states that arises when people find that their beliefs are inconsistent with their action. Festinger, in fact, observed that in order for organizations to change, we must eliminate cognitive dissonance by either change your actions or you change your beliefs.
At these times also, people really want to see their leaders as more human and vulnerable, if you think about it. So someone that they can connect with, and that's essentially being transparent. So it's not only to increase trust within your team, but also to increase productivity and creativity within your teams. And you might be wondering, what are some different ways to start building that transparency with your team members? And we want to recommend a few steps to get started. Number one, connect. So take out 10 minutes each week to ask your employees, what are they working on? And if there's anything you can do to support their projects, right? So making a time to sort of just check in with them and see what's happening. Number two, encourage. Allow space for them to trial and fail. To try and fail and make it create that psychological safety that they know even if they fail, they're not going to necessarily punished for it. Right? They're looking to create a purpose. So a compelling and exciting purpose is what keeps and drives a group further together. It gives meaning to the people, clarity on why they do what they do, and understanding of how individual contributions impact the overall team. And finally, keep the realistic optimism up. So maintaining that positive environment among the team, but also keeping it real. Keeping them informed about strategies and tactics of the company, next steps, potential obstacles, and even if you have any troubles, mention those ahead. They can handle it. You might even inspire them to come up with creative ways to drive the business further, which is what essentially your job as a leader is to do, is to keep that team motivated and moving forward in these difficult times.
This is great. So what we are saying is that in today's world, in order to drive change, one of the steps is about transparency, and transparency comes with a set of actions that are going to make them empowered to embrace change.
Absolutely. And next week, we're going to talk about the next important part of this TEDA model, which is empathy. So stay tuned.